on TV 20, Cleveland Channel 20. And again, for purposes of this meeting, if it's necessary to take a vote on any matter, council members must be on camera to vote. And with that, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Cleveland.
Here.
Slight.
Present.
Bishop.
Here.
Conwell. Johnson.
Here.
Joe Jones.
Here.
Santana. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, we have a few pieces of legislation that are time sensitive that we are going to review today. We'll start with ordinance number 794-2020. Okay, wait a minute, I'm losing, just a moment. I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties on my end, pulling up the calendar. Thank you, I have it now. Okay. Ordinance number 794-2020 by council members Cleveland and Kelly by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to employ one or more appraisers or one or more firms of appraisers to provide professional services necessary to appraise real and personal property, rights of way and or easements and other interests in real property on an as-needed basis for a period of 1 year with 3 one-year options to renew, the second of which requires additional legislative authority. The estimated cost is $84,000. And okay, Director Kennedy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, members of the committee. The airport has a requirement to do appraisals on property when we go to lease or change hands or functions. And then periodically, as we look of increases in fair market value in the property for new lease rates. Our two appraising companies, their contracts end in January of next year, and we need to go out and we're requesting authority to go out for new vendors. As you said earlier, it's around $84,000 per year, and they will have to meet a 10% participation goal when they submit their bid. So for this, we ask your approval.
Okay, Director Kennedy, 10% of what?
10% of their participation must be by CSB and DBE.
So that would be Cleveland Small Businesses and
Disadvantaged Business Enterprises, ma'am.
All right, thank you, thank you. A lot of people aren't familiar, with the acronym, and so we try to provide a little more clarity for our listening audience. Okay, and we currently have 2 appraisers or appraisal firms that you're working with now under contract?
Madam Chair, that is correct. Feasibility Research Group and OR Colon are 2 firms under contract at the moment.
Do you anticipate that you'll have 2 or more firms under contract with the next go around?
That would be our hope, to have more than 1 contract out there, particularly when you look at some of the specialized facilities that we have, Madam Chair.
Thank you, thank you. Any questions from the committee? Okay, seeing none. Ordinance number 794-2020 is approved. Ordinance number 795-2020 by council members McCormick, Cleveland, Brancatelli, and Kelly by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to employ one or more professional consultants to maintain, manage, secure, and promote city-owned properties at the North Coast Harbor and to fulfill the common area maintenance agreement with the stakeholders of North Coast Harbor for a period of 1 year with 3 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Department of Port Control. Director Kennedy?
Madam Chairperson, member of the committees, along with the 2 airports, the Department of Port Control has responsibility for North Coast Harbor and the requirements of managing that property down there. This includes the Rock Hall, Great Lakes Science Center, Cleveland Browns, and Cumberland Development. Since 2012, we've had Downtown Cleveland Alliance managing the professional services down there under contract. That contract will expire in February of next year. And what we're looking to do is to go out for a contract for a 1 year with 3 one-year renewals to provide provide the maintenance, the physical property management of those areas. And that's what we're seeking.
Okay. And what's the cost of the contract?
The cost of the contract is approximately $400,000. And it's, Madam Chair, it's paid through the fees of the tenants down there. So it's assessed to the tenants every year, and the fee goes to is covered by that.
Okay, thank you. The director, you're asking for, and I don't have the actual legislation in front of me, so I'm going by our summary. You're asking for a contract for a 1 year period with 3 one-year options to renew, but I don't see where you have to bring that back to council at any point. Is that an oversight?
Well, no, the second renewal would require legislative authority.
Okay, now I don't have that I don't have the legislation, so and I don't know, Madam Clerk, if you have that legislation to make sure that language is in there.
Duly noted, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other questions? Any other questions from committee members?
Madam Chair,
Madam Chairwoman.
Okay, just a moment. We'll go first with the Vice Chair, Councilman Slife. Was that Councilman Jones I heard in the background?
Yes, that is.
Okay, after Councilman Slife.
Madam Chair, thanks. I just wanted to clarify your last question. I have the legislation in front of me, and I see where it says for a period of 1 year with 3 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Port Control. Were you looking for more explicit? Sometimes the legislation will say, with the second option needing legislative authority or something to that degree. Is that, I want to make sure your question was answered the right way.
Right, and that's what we typically see in our legislation, that it indicates that after the second renewal or whichever renewal, that it has to have legislative authority. Okay,
because scanning it through real quickly, I'm not seeing that sort of language.
Okay, well.
Councilperson and Madam Chair, we'll double check that, but according to my notes and summary, it says the second would require additional legislative authority, but we'll double check it.
May I comment?
Yes, Madam Director.
I do have it in front of me, and it does say, maybe I have an updated version, but it does say the first of the 1 year options to renew may be exercised by the Director of Port Control without the necessity of obtaining additional authority of this council. The second of the 1 year options to renew may not be exercised without additional legislative authority. If such additional legislative authority is granted and the second of the 1 year options to renew is exercised, then the third of the 1 year options to renew may be exercised at the option of the Director of Port Control without the necessity of obtaining additional authority of this council. So it's the second, second year requires authority.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Councilman? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any other questions?
No, I'm looking at the version on Legistar, so I just might be looking at one that's out of date. So,
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councilman Slife. Councilman Joe Jones?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. To the director, the Madam Chairwoman asked the question about what was the cost of the doing this. And I want to say, you said 400,000, is that correct?
That is correct, Councilman.
And so just a little bit more detail in this. Is it 400,000 per year that we're requesting for this contract, or is it a 400,000 over the course of the contract?
Over the period of the contract, it is 400,000 per year. Remember, it includes maintenance, operations, security, marketing, and those features.
Madam Chairwoman Dewey, so the previous contract was 400,000. Madam Chairwoman, to the director.
I will have to get Madam Chairperson to the council. I'll have to get that for clarity from our North Coast manager. I'm not quite sure if it was 400 per year, but I would think that would be close. But we'll get that additional information.
So preliminary, Madam Chairwoman, to the director, it may have been 400,000 or somewhere there, close to that figure.
Through the chairperson to the councilman, it could have been. Remember, it covers the services for special events. It covers the marketing, and we're in a little different era now than we've been in the past when we had a lot of special events down there. So I'll have to get that number for you, sir.
And Madam Chairwoman, to the director, what organization or institution did these funds go to manage the harbor?
Well, it is managing the property management down there. It's Downtown Cleveland Alliance that does a lot of work in our downtown city center with the host and so forth like that.
And Madam Chairman, to the director, do you have a budget that you could give to this council as relates to their performance in the previous years?
Through the chair to the councilman, yes, sir.
Madam Chairwoman, I would respectfully request if we could get a copy of that, a breakdown on what services were performed for the harbor and how those funds and resources was used in the subsequent years. And Madam Chairwoman, to the director, you stated earlier that you have a development corporation. Would that be this same development corporation you're talking about, or another one that was working in tandem with this one to deliver those services based upon the renewal of this contract? In other words, are there other parties other than the development corporation we're talking about currently?
If I misspoke about another development corporation, my apologies. But the Downtown Cleveland Alliance is the one that we work through for this particular contract. Cumberland Development is one of the tenants or one of the developers down there, along with Science Hall, Rock Hall, and Science Center and Browns.
Madam Chairwoman, no further questions. Would love to have an opportunity to take a look at the last fiscal report in terms of the resources that were given to the Development Corporation. And lastly, Madam Chairwoman, to the director, in your analysis, how have this organization performed and the resources that we've allocated to them in terms of, do you have any kind of metrics of where they have their report card, so to speak, grade of delivering services for the harbor?
Madam Chair, to the council person, the greatest report card is from the Rock Hall, the Science Center, the Browns, and so forth. And the comments have been favorable for Downtown Cleveland Alliance in their performance of their duties as outlined.
No further questions, Madam Chairwoman. Thank you to the director.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Jones. And Ms. Poole, you have the request for the director to provide an accounting of the past performance performance under the current contract that'll be expiring.
Yes, ma'am.
in the next few months. And once we receive that, we will provide that to all council members. Thank you, Councilman Jones. Any other questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, ordinance number 795-2020 is approved. Please sign it up. Ordinance number 845-2020 by council members Cleveland and Kelly by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to exercise the first option to renew contract contract number RCD 2019-1 with Siemens Industry, Inc. to maintain, repair, and expand the existing Apogee building automation system for the Department of Port Control. Director Kennedy.
Madam Chair, to the council, we have used Siemens for what's called automated building systems. It helps us monitor our energy, the effectiveness of our HVAC, our heating systems, and so forth. It is a process of managing parts of this building are over 50 years and includes our mechanical systems, exterior lighting, interior lighting, and so forth. Siemens has performed quite well in this last year, and we're asking to renew it. This is a requirements contract.
Thank you, Director. And what's the amount of the contract?
Well, it's a requirements contract that
okay.
as needed, Madam Chair.
As needed. Okay, thank you. Thank you. And Director Kennedy.
Yes, ma'am.
This system Apogee, now is this a proprietary system developed by Siemens, or is this something that, you know, another company could come in and maintain once this contract was over?
I believe that the Apogee, Madam Chair, I believe that it is a proprietary software, but I will have to double check on that particular one. I know if we were to switch to another system, we would have to start from scratch, and that would be a multi-year, probably most likely a multi-million-dollar investment. But I'll check if it's exclusive to Siemens.
Okay, and Director Kennedy, so this would be year 2 of how many year contract?
Well, it's a 2-year with 2 1-year renewals. This is the, I think this is our first renewal on this one.
So yes. Director, we have 4 years. This is a 4-year contract. And
yes,
you just stated that this may be proprietary software. So I'm looking, if we're in year 2 of a 4-year contract, we've got maybe 2 years left to be looking at what happens after this contract expires. You know, are we going to have to go out and invest in a multi-million-dollar new software system, or, you know, so Director, I hope you guys are looking at this.
Madam Chair, we're absolutely looking at it. Remember, as we're working through our master plan too, we're not only going to plan for when this particular contract is, what is the new terminal, or is there a new terminal? What do we save from the other? So there are some 5-year planning decisions that we need to make in 21 and 22 regarding that future facility and how best it works.
Thank you, Director. Okay, committee members, any questions? Okay, not seeing any. Ordinance number 845-2020 is approved. Ordinance number 846-2020 by council members Cleveland and Kelly by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into an amendment to contract number PS 2017-17 with Peregrine Advisors LLC to extend the term of the contract up to 1 year and to provide additional financial consulting services. Director.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, we all thought 2020 was a challenging year, is probably about the best way that I can put it. But 21 will be challenging as well. Also adding to our challenges are a couple of financial issues facing us. One, at the end of next year, our master lease with the airlines runs through its initial period. There is a renewal. However, it requires that both parties agree to a renewal. Given the airline situation, the finances of the industry right now, that may not happen. So we need to extend the current contract through next year so that if there is negotiations with our airline partners, that we need that experience that we've had for a number of years here. Secondly, that's facing us is what's going to happen in Washington, and the fact that what may happen with funding for airports, particularly when you talk about passenger facility charges being possibly indexed to inflation. And if we have to do a new application, we're going to next year, we will need that expertise as well. So we have two big hurdles next year that are possibly on the horizon for us. And we wish to keep the existing contract and that experience. I think they've been on the airport through various contracts for almost 11 years now, maybe a little longer. And that's our reason for asking for a one-year extension and an expansion.
Okay. And so, Director, is everyone, meaning the airlines, they're okay with the just extending the contract? You don't need their or anyone's specific agreement to do that, or?
Madam Chair, both parties, the city and the what's called signatory airlines, would have to agree to the extension. If one party wishes to open it up, it would be opened up. Our existing contract would end at our master lease would end at the end of next year. Once we opened it up, it would anything that is provisioned in our rates and charges, lease areas, revenue, all of those things are opened up for negotiation. There are other factors that may have the carriers inclined to look at renewal, but right now we don't know if they're going to ask for renegotiation. For us, we're keeping our cards close to the chest with them.
I understand. Any questions from the committee? Councilman Joe Jones?
Madam Chairwoman, the contract that the director is referring to, what is our plans? So it's basically right now just to renew it as it is, or is it a lot of what we're talking about incumbent upon the new administration and what we're faced with on a dealing with this pandemic on a global level? So the question would be, Madam Chairwoman, to the director, where do we stand at the possibility of this being passed?
Madam Chair, to the council, the possibility of the master lease being passed, or
the airlines being in an agreement and wanting to renew?
Right now, I can't really handicap that. As we all know that the airlines have lost billions of dollars, excuse me. Hundreds of thousands of employees have been, or tens of thousands of employees have been let go. We do have more done in the last week on addressing COVID and its impact on our industry than has been done in the previous 9 months. We have some things that may come out of Congress. It will be played almost day to day, and a decision would have to come probably spring of next year by the carriers, an indication. But right now, they're keeping their desires close to the chest as well.
So what are the things that we're talking about, Madam Chairwoman, to the director, that could be coming out of Congress that could potentially have an impact on the airline industry and certainly the impact on our region that we should be concerned about as a council?
Madam Chair, to the council, excellent question. If you've seen the news this week, what's being considered as a stimulus package is about 1/4 of what was recommended by the Democrats last year. Last year, the airport received $46 million in aid from the federal government, which was used for two things here at this airport, or these airports that we have. That was to keep payroll and to pay our debt service. What out of that $500 billion that is being proposed right now will go to airports is unknown. We would probably need more in line what we had last year. The other thing is the big conversation is the passenger facility charge, which has been fixed for about 18 years, maybe 17 years. There is discussion about indexing it to inflation, which if that's allowed, then we're going to take full advantage of that. And then whatever infrastructure bill that may come out from the administration, from Congress, and how we invest that. We have prepared studies, and we're ready to latch on to any money that may come out of Washington that would be set aside for infrastructure to make them shovel ready to be in fact.
So it sounds like to me, Madam Chairwoman, and you could correct me, Director, there's like maybe 2 or 3 different scenarios that you're looking to come out of Washington. One of them being, hopefully COVID relief funds, possibly to the air funds, to the airport. 2, looking at whatever legislation that will come out to index is the term utilized for passengers, to increase that with the rate of inflation. And then and the third one, what would that be again, for clarification, Madam Chairwoman, to the Director?
Through the chairperson to the councilman, infrastructure. It's been talked about for many years that the national air system is in desperate need of investment by the centralized government to improve runways, taxiways, airspace, and so forth. We just finished a project or a estimate here that we replacing a full depth replacement of our inboard runway would be right around $90 million. If that becomes available in Washington, we're ready to go after that money, sir.
And Madam Chairwoman, to the Director, do you already have your advocacy in place for that? Can we utilize the Cleveland City Council, the mayor of the city of Cleveland, all of our branches of government to lobby to make sure that we secure our airport and its future?
Through the chairperson to the councilman, we welcome all help that we can. We have industry groups that are helping us. We have our lobbyists that we pay in Washington as well. Certainly Chief McCall does a great job of keeping the airport needs in front of elected officials, both local, state, and federal. And so any force that can be brought, we welcome it.
Well, I'm putting it out there, because all you have to do is ask the council. You have members like me that is, really concerned about the future of our city. We know that we won't have a great city if we don't have a great airport and a world-class one at that. And so I stand ready, Madam Chairwoman, and I think, Mr. Chairman, you should put together your platform on your ask, and you should just, let's go do it. I mean, the Republicans waste no time in taking care of their cities and doing what they need to do aggressively. And so with that being shared, Madam Chairwoman, we should be doing the same here in the city of Cleveland. We should not be sitting back idly, hoping and praying for something to happen. We should get out there and do the work that we need to do. And so, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairwoman, and Director of the airport, I stand ready and available to work with you in any ways, means. I look forward to your communication, to do just that.
Thank you.
And then further on that, Madam Chairwoman, we are members of the National League of Cities, and we can make that a part of our advocacy as we're preparing ourselves. And so it could be a twofold hit. There's the advocacy of the city, as well as us working along with the various different people that that the director talked about that he has in place in terms of lobbyists, we could also work in tandem with that, with testimony, how powerful the airport has been, and the significant need to continue its improvement and its operation. So, Mr. Chairman, and Madam Chairwoman and Director, I stand ready as an elected official in the city of Cleveland, willing to work with you all to make my voice heard in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Councilman, for always being such a strong advocate for our city. I do have to disagree with you on
Thank
one
you.
slide. You said that some of our members care about what the future of the city, and I would just say that's all of our members care about the future of the city. And we're all here to do, Director, as he says, we are here and we are our strongest advocates. And Councilman Jones, I serve on the Transportation Committee with National League of Cities as well as Chief McCall. So we are ready. And, you know, that's one of the biggest issues that we face and some of our sister cities in this country face as well, you know, during this time, this difficult time in our country and during this time of transition. So seeing that there's, you know, no other legislation, Director, how's the airport?
Madam Chair, we've definitely seen better days. To you and the committee, I'm probably more optimistic over the last week than I've been in the last 10 months. We have news on the vaccine. We have some encouraging news out of Washington. Our passenger levels have returned at about 40% of where we were last year. And that may not seem much, but when we look at our peer set airports around the country, the investment by the air carriers have been a little greater in Cleveland than our peer set airports. We continued industry leading work with our air carriers. We've heard that's a quote from them on our finances. As you know, we're a fully residual airport. And so every dollar saved helps us be competitive. Every dollar earned helps us be competitive as well. It has been tough. As I mentioned earlier, the relief that we got from CARES Act went for two things here at this airport: payroll and to pay our debt service. There have been a number of tough decisions, a number of things that we've had to do, but we have put ourselves in a very good competitive position. As I said in Cabinet a few weeks back, even though we're better than our peer set airports, to be the last to drown is no honor. We will emerge out of this. Again, I'm more hopeful today than I was about 10 days ago. And we're going to be competitive. We have to be. When we look at what's going around, there are going to be fewer aircraft in the air, fewer flight crews, fewer cities served, and we're emerging certainly in our region as a bright spot for the future. And along with our master plan that we're doing, that we started way before COVID, it is doing well to prepare us for that brighter future.
Thank you, Director, for that brief update. And we will be talking more in depth soon. Yes, Ms. Cornelli?
Yes, I'm sorry. Nancy just contacted me to let me know that I have the wrong version of Ordinance 795, which is the one for the professional consultants to manage North Coast Harbor. And the actual current legislation has in it, they're asking for 1 year with 3 options to renew, all exercisable by the Director of Port Control. So there is not currently a return for legislative authority.
Okay. We didn't officially close out the committee. Do we still have a quorum of our members? Yes.
Yes, Madam Chairwoman.
Just a moment. I'm not sure procedurally if we can. I think we can go back to this ordinance because I think we need to amend it. Either we amend it here today or get amended at committee the whole next Wednesday. But we need to have that provision.
Agreed, Madam Chairwoman.
Yeah.
Okay,
Madam Chairwoman, should I make a motion?
floor is open.
Madam Chairwoman, I make a motion that we amend the current legislation to come back to Cleveland City Council for each subsequent approval.
Oh, Councilman Jones, we generally only require it to come back for one approval, and that the other approvals will be at the discretion of the director.
Well, Madam Chairwoman, I rescind the motion on the floor, and Madam Chairwoman, a new motion to amend it to come back at least one time before the council for final approval.
Is there a second?
Second that motion. Madam Chairwoman, I second that motion.
Okay, second by Councilman Bishop. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I,
Okay.
can we go with the language that I stated earlier then, that the second year will be returned to legislative authority?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. And thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm sorry, I added confusion.
No problem. We got it. Okay. Seeing that there's no other legislative business and the director has given us a brief update, committee members, thank you for your participation today. To all of you and to everybody listening, please be careful. COVID cases are rising at an alarming rate here in the city and in this county and in the state of Ohio, and we've got to do better for our community, for ourselves. So everyone, please be careful, wear your mask, wash your hands, keep social distancing. Thank you.